the misconception about freedom. I know a lot of people, when they get into online business, they get into it because they want freedom, and that's why I got into it. But to me, freedom meant being able to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Being able to wake up whenever I wanted, not having to wake up to an alarm clock, not having anyone tell me what to do, not having a schedule, being able to take a day off if I want to, or many days off. And I've actually reached that point where I can do that. I don't have to work today if I don't want to. I can take several days off if I want to. I have quote unquote freedom. I have passive income. I have more freedom than most people on earth. But does that bring happiness? Does it? You might think it does until you get there. And then you realize, shit, it's really boring not to work. It's actually depressing when you don't have a purpose in life, a direction, when you don't have some sort of boundaries or even a schedule. Like, for a long time, I just thought, I'll just be a leaf in the wind and I'll just do what I want whenever I feel like it. And I soon found that that's not the key. That's not freedom even. Freedom is, I guess to me, it's doing what you know you're meant to do. It's not doing anything. It's not doing whatever you want to do. It's doing what you know you're meant to do. It's living with purpose. It's not never working or only working on what you want to work on. It's about purpose, which means working on things that maybe you don't want to do, that are uncomfortable to you, but they serve a greater purpose. They serve other people. They help the world. So it's not always convenient for you. Maybe you have to wake up at a certain time, or you have to stick to a schedule in order to fulfill that purpose. Maybe it's not comfortable. Maybe it's not easy. Maybe it doesn't feel like the freedom that you thought it would feel like. But nonetheless, if it's what you know in your heart you're meant to do, then that is what is going to bring you fulfillment. Even if it's not easy, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it doesn't initially feel like freedom, eventually you find it does feel like freedom because it's aligned with who you really are and what you're really meant to do. So let's sit down for a minute and talk a little more about this. So, freedom. We think freedom is one thing, but it's actually another. I think everyone should strive to have that time freedom in their life. I think it's definitely worth pursuing. For me, it's much better than having to go to a 9-to-5 job. But once you have all that time, then you have to start thinking, and you should even be thinking about this well in advance, I think, before you even get there. Think, once I have all the time in the world, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna fill that time with? Because that is what will make the difference in how good you feel about yourself and your life. It's what you do, what you fill that time with. Are you gonna just sit around and play video games or travel the world and just live for yourself? Or are you going to dedicate yourself to something greater and serving humanity in some way? I don't think it's bad or wrong to be selfish and to do things for your own personal pleasure, but there has to be some balance. At least that's what I've found, to really have fulfillment and happiness, true happiness and peace of mind in your life. There has to be a balance of both selfishness, if you want to call it that, and selflessness, which means doing things that you don't have to do, but you do them because it's the right thing to do, because it feels right, it feels aligned with you, you know? So I kind of realized this. I'm making this video because I realized this in myself. I realized that a lot of what I was doing in my business is I was building my business so that I could not work. I was trying to build a business that gave me that total freedom where I didn't have to work and where I could work as little hours as possible, I guess. And I got to that point where I only had to work like a few hours a week to maintain this business that I was operating with my wife, my soon-to-be wife, and I got to the point where I was only working a few hours a week, and it was great for a little while, but eventually you're like, this isn't fulfilling. Like, yeah, I have all this money now, I have the freedom, but it doesn't really feel like freedom. It doesn't feel like I imagined it would feel. It feels almost like slavery. It's almost like you become trapped in this world where you have no direction, and like everyone around you, they're doing stuff. They're going to work. They have some purpose, at least some direction, at least some predictability in their life, right? And oftentimes as an entrepreneur, when you get to that point of freedom, you almost lose that sense of stability, because entrepreneurship can often be unpredictable. You don't know how much money you're going to make this week versus next week. You don't always have a set schedule. You don't know what you're even going to do tomorrow sometimes. Oftentimes, I don't know what I'm going to do until the day comes. I didn't know I was even going to make these videos today. I've made a couple videos so far, but I didn't know I was going to make a video today until I woke up this morning and said, I'm going to make a video. And that can bring a lot of anxiety when you don't have a schedule, when you don't have structure. And so I've realized recently that there's a lot of freedom in having a structure. There's freedom in having a schedule, because then you know, this is what I'm doing today, and after I do this, then I have the rest of the day open to whatever, you know. But if you just leave the whole day open, you end up always thinking about what you should be doing throughout the whole day. So you're never really mentally free. You might be physically free to do whatever you want, but mentally you're not. Because in the back of your mind is always that little voice or that intuition that's saying, yeah, but you should be doing this, you know? You should be doing that. You could be doing that, and that would be the right thing to do, you know? Like, you always have that voice telling you that you should have done that. And the way to quiet that voice is just to do the things that you know you should be doing, but to do it within a certain structure, within a certain boundary, not just leave it wide open. So you can say from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. or whatever, I'm going to do these things. I'm going to do what I am meant to do. I'm going to do this thing that's aligned with my purpose, and I'm going to do that from 9 to 1. And then after 1, then I can just not feel guilty about doing whatever the hell I want. So you won't feel that guilt or that anxiety anymore if you just do the thing you know you're supposed to do and you get it over with. Ideally, get it over with early in the day, so then you have the rest of the day to enjoy yourself. So this is just a little tip for, you know, people that are trying to pursue entrepreneurship and they think that what they want is to not have a schedule and to be totally free and open and be able to do whatever. I want to warn you that you probably won't enjoy that life for very long. So you should really, from the very beginning, set a schedule and treat your business or your entrepreneurial pursuits almost just like a regular job. Just like you would go to a regular job from 9 to 5 or whatever, treat your business the same way. It doesn't have to be 8 hours or whatever. It could just be whatever you have. It could be an hour or two a day if that's all you have. But keep it within a boundary. Set a schedule for yourself. Like, I'm going to work on my business every day from 6 to 8 p.m. or 6 to 8 a.m. or whatever it is, but set the schedule and keep it. Because if you don't, then you're not really treating your business like a business. You're treating it like a hobby. And I found it's very hard to make a business work if you're treating it like a hobby. You kind of got to treat it like a job almost. Like, you have to set your own hours, set your own schedule, and stick to it. And you might think that's not what you want, that doesn't feel like freedom, but I've found that that does eventually give you the freedom, because then you can enjoy the rest of your life without guilt. You can go spend time with your family and actually be present with your family. You can go travel and actually be present while you're traveling or on vacation. You can be present and at peace in the moment with what you're doing when you know that you've already done that thing you know that you're supposed to do, when you've already done your work for the day, when you've already made at least a little progress. then you can enjoy the other areas of your life without guilt, without anxiety, and without stress. So that's just a little tip for getting a little more balance in your life and preparing yourself for the future and freedom, and maybe just warning you that freedom isn't always what we think it is, and what we think is going to make us happy doesn't always actually make us happy. So for me, it's just been an experiment and trying to find what works for me, and I think I'm on the right track. So I'm going to just share my insights with you here on the YouTube channel through these videos, and hopefully this helps. If it did help, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.